McEwen wheels in front and was checked. The puck sat there for a moment. Now York is shot. Score! Cam York's first in the National, and it's 2-1 Philadelphia.
This is episode 99 of the Liberty, y'all. Danny Deemer here with Chris Stompo.
As always, how are you, buddy?
Listen, we have 1 month to go. We have 1 month to go until the action starts. I'm really bored. I'm done with summer. I just want hockey and football, but mainly hockey to come back, and we're close. But It's nice to see the Michkov highlights. How about you?
Just going to say that. I mean, I understand we got to wait at least another month before we start seeing at least training camp hockey, but hey, we're getting our fair share of Michkov highlights right now. Like actual him playing in some preseason games, goal and assist, and then a shootout goal. I mean, that was just cool to see, man. And it's so cool to watch Michkov right now, one of the best prospects in the entire NHL, and know that he's ours. And that he wants to be here. That feeling, I mean, we haven't talked since the draft, but the feeling of he's really here. And not only did we just draft him because he's Michkov and you always draft best player available and you'll deal with the consequences later, but they really did their homework. Briere really did his thing. And Michkov wants to be here. He wants to be in Philly. He wants to come here and win. It's so much different if we picked him with like the possibility of him not wanting to be here. You know what I mean? Like if the Flyers just selected Michkov because Briere was like, hey, the talent was just way too much to pass up. We don't know if he actually wants to be here. Like, if the shutting down the skate zone didn't happen and him actually coming there and joining and seeing them and playing on the pool, on the air hockey table and all that, if that didn't happen and they just picked him because, hey, you can't pass up on the talent, we'll deal with whatever later, then it's a completely different story. But that's not what happened. He wants to be here. They did their homework. They snuck him in the skate zone. Like it's so cool to see and to experience now, man. I'm really excited to get things going, even though Michkov won't be there when training camp starts.
And I mean this in a good way, but doesn't it feel weird that this happened to the Philadelphia Flyers? It feels like we get this shit end of the stick every time. It feels like we have bad luck every time. And I think it was BT. He tweeted. He was like, Like, the Flyers won the lottery without winning the lottery.
Absolutely.
Like, it's just insane.
And I kind of want to go back to what John Tortorella said in the middle of the year when all the media people were asking him the same kind of question, like tank, obviously, like, what are your thoughts on that? And I remember Tortorella coming out and saying, like, we're not going to tank. We're coming out here to prepare to win every game and do our thing. And the hockey gods, at the end of the day, will reward us. And everyone laughed at him like, you're not going to get Bedard, and ha ha ha. And yeah, that didn't happen, but hey, we got rewarded for doing the right thing and not actually stripping it down to the steel beams like Chicago did and do that. But I mean, we sat here last year, developed players, watched guys like Morgan Frost, Cam York, Owen Tippett, Noah Cates all take steps, and we got rewarded for doing it, man. Like I don't want to get into the superstitious stuff, but I mean, seriously, it really is cool how we just kind of stuck to our guns and at the end of the day we got rewarded. Like, we got arguably the best prospect in that draft. We could sit here right now and argue that he's better than Bedard, because there's absolutely a case, and I'm not just saying that because the Flyers drafted him. He's unreal. He's an unreal prospect.
And his quotes, I want to win a Stanley Cup. I'm going to bring a Stanley Cup to Philly. The orange and black shoes that he's wearing. I mean, you could feel it. It kind of feels like the Flyers version of Bryce Harper in a way.
It does.
Honestly.
If Harper was Russian.
Yeah. I was listening to an interview with Dan Hilferty, and he was saying that he sat down with Gary Bettman and was asking for his advice. And I think that is a great thing. I think good things happen to any organization that asks Gary Bettman for advice. He always kind of steers them in the right direction. Anytime a big organization's in a low point, hitting rock bottom like we were, if you go to Gary Bettman, just good things seem to happen for those organizations. And I'm not saying he like finessed Michkov here at 7, but I just think good things always happen when you go to Bettman.
What are some other organizations that have gone to Bettman and have had good things happen?
I think Toronto in the beginning of their rebuild did it.
Mm-hmm.
There's some other ones too. I mean, I really can't.
That is interesting.
New Jersey did it. I'm pretty sure New Jersey did it. Josh Harris, owner of the Sixers as well. I'm pretty sure he went to Gary Bettman for some advice. He also has great hockey people in his org, but
he just bought the Commanders as well, the Washington Commanders. Josh Harris. So he's got a lot of shit on his plate, but that's pretty interesting.
This is weird, but doesn't it annoy you that he has the Sixers, but then has the Commanders and then the Devils?
Yeah. I mean, I don't actually like him at all. Like, I can't stand that dude.
I agree. I'm glad you said that, actually, because I totally agree. It's just like there's something weird about him, something like off-putting whenever I watch an interview with him.
But I would love to have known what Dan's question to Bettman was, or questions, plural. It's a pretty cool conversation that I would love to get in on.
I also wonder when they happened, too. I wonder if they were like before the hiring process, before the draft, on the draft floor, maybe. I would like to know specifically where. But, dude, Cutter Gauthier in the World Junior Summer Showcase.
Yeah, stepping up.
Man
He just scored again.
Boys.
He just scored again today. I think 10 minutes ago. I just posted it on TLY if you guys want to go check it out on our page. Kid's a beast, man. Like you said, he's a man amongst boys right now. He really is. And he's playing center in that tournament as well. He's their 1C. So it's just, he just keeps, I mean, Derek wrote an article. If you want to go check it out at libertyline.com in the Flyers section, obviously. He was drafted 5th overall, and obviously the expectations that we have for him now weren't there when he was drafted. But he has met and exceeded every expectation so far in his development that I have personally set for him. And to see him do what he's doing, and then knowing that he has the guys in BC for his sophomore year that he has, I mean, Will Smith, Peralt, and then Leonard, he's going to play with one or two of those guys. So I think he's in line for a huge sophomore season and then eventually signing his ELC, because there's no way he goes back for a junior year. So all things have been looking terrific with Cutter Gauthier this summer and last year.
Yeah, like, I mean, what he did at Worlds, I think that's what really stamped him, like, to the national guys at least. I mean, people already had him on the top prospect rankings, but I think that was the moment where they were like, whoa, he could be more than just a 5th overall pick here.
I mean, not for nothing. Like, people talk about Cutter Gauthier like he was fucking the 57th pick overall in the draft. Like, this kid was top 5. There's a reason why he went top 5, man. Like, he's got the athleticism. He's got the build already as a young kid. He has everything you want in a forward. Confidence, the shot, the skating, the power, the willingness to go into the corners with his body and come out with the puck. He's just an extremely, extremely impressive kid. 19 years old, man. And he's just, like you said, he was in the Worlds. 7 goals, 2 assists, 9 points in 10 games. I mean, it's incredible. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does coming up to his sophomore season with Boston College, especially with those guys that I just listed. I mean, how exciting is it knowing that he will probably be on one of their lines, if not two of those 3 guys. So it's so exciting for his development, and hopefully we'll see him April. I really don't think we won't.
Dude, he's going to put up insane numbers this year, and he's going to come into the NHL with a ton of confidence.
That's the hope.
Just seeing what him and Michkov are doing right now and during the summer is refreshing, because, I mean, summers have sucked. I mean, at least the last 10 years or so, they have sucked. They've been boring. And, I mean, this August is about, like, are the Flyers still going to try to get Maxime Rizzo? It's like, okay. I mean, I'm really glad to see or to have prospects that we can follow, and they're playing hockey right now in August, because normally August is terrible. But that makes it better.
And September 1st or 2nd is Michkov's season opener as well in the KHL, so look out for that. Especially TLY will be covering that the entire year, so if anybody wants to watch some Michkov highlights and geek out with us, head to our profile, because we will be there no matter what. That meme, we will be there no matter what. It's going to be fun, man. It's just, like you said, it's fun having some kind of excitement in the middle of August, because usually it's just filled with disappointment at this time. Like this time last year, we were like, oh, we're running it back? Cool. Thanks. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, Chuck Fletcher was still the GM this time last year. Pretty sure Tony DeAngelo was already on the team. It's just, it's night and day compared to this time last year to this time this year. And I'm saying that I think they're going to go out and push for a playoff spot, but, I mean, there are going to be individual players that are going to hopefully take steps this year. One of them is Cam York. I really do think we'll talk about him later, but I really do think he's going to take that next step and really prove himself as a top 2 defenseman in the NHL. I know he's only 22, 23 years old, and he's still got a lot of time to develop into what he's going to become, but I have just the utmost confidence in that guy, and so does everybody who's involved with TLY. Me, you, Derek, Zach, everybody. Just the skating, and everyone points out the height and the size, which I really don't think it's that big of a deal. The kid's like 5'11", has some great weight to him, solid fucking kid, just elite stick, elite skating, elite IQ. I mean, I'm not saying that he's fucking him a car, but I have the utmost confidence in him being a top 2 guy for us when we're ready to compete. I really do. And that's not even mentioning the change to number 8. The change to number 8 automatically makes him elite. I don't care what anybody says. So the fact that we have that, along with just an impressive build so far. I mean, he played next to Provorov last year on his offside, and he still looked pretty good. I mean, corralling pucks on your backhand when you've never played on the right side before in your entire life is in the NHL, to add, is a pretty hard thing to do. So he's the main guy I think I'm looking at. I mean, you got Brink, who I think is kind of a not undercard. I don't know what word I'm looking for, but I feel like nobody's talking about Brink right now because of that injury, and obviously other prospects have taken over the excitement, if you will. Gauthier and obviously Michkov, but I mean, I really do think he's still a player that a lot of people forget about, who could be a really good second, third line guy in our system, like a Scott Lawton type Swiss Army knife, but better, if you will. I mean, you watch that guy. He played in the World Juniors a couple of years ago, and he played behind guys like Zegras and Turcotte and Kaliev and Boldy and all those guys, and he was asked to play a grinding, checking, PK-type role on the third line, and he was incredible that entire tournament, especially in that gold medal game. And he had like 3 block shots that helped Team USA get gold, and people tell me on Twitter a couple of days ago that he isn't good defensively. He can't skate. I mean, like, do these people watch the games, or do they just go to fucking Elite Prospects and look at his stats and see that he only had like 28 points in 40 games in the AHL coming off a torn labrum? Like, I had a guy tell me a couple of days ago that a torn labrum isn't that big of a deal of an injury. I don't understand where these people come from. I really don't.
Well, they don't watch the games.
Yeah. Can't. I mean, if that's what you say.
That. Those are the same people that'll say, like, oh, Morgan Frost sucks and he shouldn't get extended, but I didn't watch last year. It's like, oh, you didn't watch the year he broke out and finally found his identity as an NHL player? And when it comes to Cam York, I mean, you said it best. Like, in the small sample size that I've seen of him in the NHL, playing in the right side, nonetheless, not even his natural position, and just the turmoil in the organization altogether with how bad of a team we were, I mean, it's impressive what I saw. I think he can only build on it. I mean, if he gets to his natural position, gets the proper playing time, I think and the team's only going to get better. I think he's going to develop into a stud.
Yeah, and
for us.
I mean, we said it right when the season ended, going into the summer. Obviously, it's not the actual top priority in the offseason. Obviously, that was unloading a couple of guys. But, I mean, subtly, my top priority, which automatically came with the Provorov move, was getting him back to that strong side. It really was. And the fact that Tony DeAngelo, who takes power play time, is gone. Kevin Hayes, who also takes power play time, is gone. JVR, who also takes power play time, is gone. And all those puck touches, like Derek said a couple days ago, are going to go to younger guys. That power play time is going to go to either Cam York, Sanheim, or Andrea if he makes the team. The Hayes puck touches are going to go to Frost, Farabee, somebody else, and then the JVR touches are going to go to probably Cates, who is insanely good at deflecting pucks in front of the net. So I think he is our new net front guy. So just the fact that we've giving the kids a chance not to just get playing time, but the puck touches are extremely important. And we've taken 3 seriously important guys, not to winning games, but in terms of touching the puck on a power play. JVR, D'Angelo, and Hayes were just 3 guys who had the puck a lot and thought they were him when they did have the puck. So getting them out and allowing Frost, York, Andrea possibly, Brink, all these younger guys to get puck touches, especially on the power play, is vital. I mean, it's awesome. It's one of the best things Briere did without actually doing anything, if that makes sense. Like, all he did was move a couple guys, but with moving those guys comes with younger guys getting puck touches. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how York and all those guys deal with increased puck touches, which I think personally is only going to help York. I mean, he's a power play wizard. He really is. He could run a power play in his sleep, if we're being honest. So extremely excited to see that, man. I'm extremely excited just to get hockey back, you know?
Yeah, all those names you just mentioned, like, how refreshing is it to not see them play hockey for the Flyers anymore?
It's
like,
awesome.
Just that alone, just the subtractions alone. I'm excited for this season because those puck touches are going to Tippett, Frost, Cates, like, all the young guys are going to get more ice time to develop. And
Absolutely.
To be honest, the way they performed in the back half of last year, like, when you go back and watch it now, like, I was so miserable last year that I couldn't admit it to myself, but when I go back and watch it now, like, they were pretty impressive towards the end of the year. Like, they battled.
No, they were.
They were really starting to find their identity, and they were hard to play against. And not saying they're going to be elite this year, but you can only build on that, I would think.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're all young players, man, and they're all going to get increased puck touches, like I just said. So it's only a good thing. And even if these increased puck touches result in us finding out that somebody isn't as good as we thought they were, or blah blah blah, that's still a good thing. You know what I mean? Like, finding out things in a rebuild in that way is important to the rebuild. Knowing that this guy maybe isn't a part of your core, or maybe isn't a part of your future, but you thought he was a year ago. It's important, and to find those things out is to get those guys those puck touches. It really is, and I'm just extremely excited that Hayes is like, Zach had me crying a couple days ago. He tweeted something out. I think it was a GIF or somebody, like, all shocked and crying, excited, and the caption was, when you're watching the Flyers and you see number 25 on the ice and it's not JVR.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it's Hathaway who has 25 now. A guy who actually hits somebody while they're forechecking.
A guy who uses his size in a positive, efficient way for the hockey team. Absolutely.
And now, I'm not saying that every big guy has to be this guy who checks and blah blah blah. And I know that JVR wasn't a dude who used physicality in his game, but god damn, that dude never did anything physical. I have never seen that dude do anything physical except give somebody a face wash or something. Like, even battling for pucks in the corner, it's just, let me try this stick lift. That didn't work here. You take the puck. It's just, I'm excited to watch a guy in number 25 jersey body somebody, dude. Just body someone, man. I really am. I don't give a fuck if that makes me sound like a fucking, and I don't even know what to say, a fucking old head. I just want to see hitting and then finish the check.
You need that. Yeah, you need that. You watch the playoffs, you know. I mean, you see it. Like every team that wins, I mean, they finish their checks.
Yeah, I'm not saying Tage Thompson has to go out there and start bodying people, but, like, you know what I'm saying. JVR, there was no kind of physicality in his game, and for a dude that big, hey, I'm not asking you to fucking throw yourself around like Wade Allison, but god damn, man, make it look like you're trying. I mean, I know he is. It's a weird line that I'm trying to walk right now that I just has been in my head since I've watched that dude play hockey for the last 10 fucking years of my life, which is insane to think about, man. He's finally Boston. He guarantee you he scores 33 in Boston next year. I guarantee.
I don't even care.
Listen, no, I don't even.
Because I know they'll be ugly. And listen, I know there's gonna be people golden goal, blah blah blah. He wouldn't have scored it here because I've seen it. He wouldn't have scored it here.
He'll sit on a power play and deflect David Pastrnak clappers. Yep. Enjoy that, my man. And McAvoy on the back end. Like, he will get his fair share of goals, especially on the power play this year. He'll be in the top 6, so he'll either be playing with Pastrnak or who else do they got over there? I mean, their top 6 is pretty brutal now that Bergeron's gone, to be honest with you. I think their 2C is somebody that I would not want as my 2C. Let me go check real quick.
And he's got to prove himself again to get paid. Like, yeah, he's going to come out and perform
He
this
ain't
year.
getting anything remotely close to what he had with Philly after this.
Oh, no, I'm saying, like, just any player who's on, like, a 1 or a 2 year deal, that extra motivation's just there. Like, if you're in a contract year, you turn up.
So let's look at this. Boston's roster. David Pastrnak. They got Marchand, obviously. Charlie Coyle. Pavel Zacha. DeBrusk. Trent Frederick. Morgan Geekie. They brought Milan Lucic back. Van Riemsdyk. Patrick Brown. Jesper Boquist. And AJ Greer. That's their forward core right now. So their 2C is who? Fucking Pavel Zacha? Yeah, looks like it. Or Charlie Coyle?
I mean, I would like to sit, like, that sounds horrendous. I would like to sit here and say that, oh, the Bruins are dead, but
nah, they're not. Their back end's stupid.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Their back end.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Back end is way too good for them to be dead, and you still have David Pastrnak and Brad Marchand, who are two superstars. So
that division is tough, though. And I think it's only going to get harder.
Is it weird to say that I'm kind of glad we're in a rebuild right now? Because we would
I'm excited. Dude,
competing.
this is why I liked all the things that we just mentioned in the last 10, 20 minutes. That is why I wanted a rebuild, because you actually feel like you're making progress. Like, this year, we both can admit Flyers are absolutely... There's 0% chance they win the Stanley Cup, and there's like a 10% chance they probably make the playoffs. Maybe even less than that.
I think even less than that, for sure.
But, like, 3%. And that's if, like, all the top Metro teams get a bunch of injuries. But
that's if Couturier comes back and he's, like, a god again. And Atkinson comes back and he scores 30 goals. And every young player that we have takes extreme step forward. Like, Frost turns into an 80-point player. It would have to be insane shit that would happen. But not totally out of the possibility. Like, it could happen. I don't think they're going to be as... Here's my thing. I don't think they're going to be as bad as people think they're going to be. I still think they're going to be bad, but not bottom 5 bad. Especially if Carter Hart plays, because we still have that.
The beauty of the rebuild is just like it doesn't even matter. Like whether like they perform above expectations or below, it feels like kind of a win-win either way. It's just the steps they take. Like looking at individual performances. Like if Cam York takes another step. Yeah. I mean, if Morgan Frost takes another step, and then Farabee gets back to form, Tippett continues what he's doing, and Cates maybe finds more of an offensive game, just some stuff like that, then I could see us being really happy with that. And then Gauthier joining the mix.
Oh my God.
Maybe towards the end of the year, if not getting an ELC joining the next year.
How many times have we talked about? I mean, this is totally a fake scenario, obviously, but if they were somewhat in the playoff race in like April.
Yeah, just in the mix. You know, like it's a possibility type. And
then Cutter joined.
We're all here for that.
I'd be like, okay, I wanted the rebuild, don't get me wrong, but I'm all in for the push to the playoffs, baby. Let's roll. I would not give up. If they were like 8 points out of a playoff spot and Cutter signed and there was still like 15 games left, which is would
and
not
then
happen.
Scores in his debut
From
a frost pass. What would you do?
Oh from on the power play from a York to Frost to Gauthier. Jesus Christ! Look at us just sitting here trying to come up with fake scenarios, man.
Hey, it's the beauty of the rebuild, though. See, you can't do this when your team is mediocre. There's no light at the end of the tunnel at all.
Zero. I mean,
this
dude,
is so refreshing.
I said it 15 minutes ago. This time last year, where were we, man? We were sitting here in like doom and gloom because we knew that the direction that they were going in was to a dead end street. It was Chuck Fletcher just putting Band-Aids on things this time last year, man. It was really just night and day, like I said 15 minutes ago. It really is. It's just going into the season knowing that guys that you want to get puck touches are going to get the puck touches, and the guys that you didn't want here anymore are not here. Provorov, Hayes, JVR, Patrick Brown, McEwen, Lemieux's not coming back. Like, get those guys out and let the kids play, man. Like, we're in the rebuild. Let's do it. Hathaway, I think, is a great ad. I think he's going to be fun to watch. I don't understand the people that were complaining about him. Delorier, obviously. It's going to be a fun fourth line to watch, to be honest with you, man. Like, we're in a rebuild, man. I'll gladly watch a fourth line with fucking Delorier, Poling, I just butchered his name. Dank is going to come after me for that one. And then Hathaway on that line, that's going to be fun as shit. Like, I don't even give a fuck. Let me just see 18 checks a shift. Like, who gives a fuck? I'm in. You know?
In a weird way, I think this team's gonna be fun to watch.
Me too. I think they're gonna have
they're gonna suck, but they're gonna be fun to watch. They're gonna be entertaining.
They're not gonna be the most skilled team in the world, but they're gonna be entertaining to watch in terms of a identity standpoint. Like, they're not gonna let anybody push them around. Which, I mean, you don't want that to happen, especially when you got kids that are developing on your team. I mean, if Forrester's on this team, which, I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't be unless he has an awful camp.
Dude, they just posted his number change on the. He's there.
What's up with how he went from? What was the number he had? Hold on, let's 18, and then we signed Mark fucking Stahl of all people, who had to have 18 and took it away from one of our best prospects. Like, obviously it's not that big of a deal to complain.
Yeah, because I like 71 better. Honestly,
me too.
I think I just think it looks cleaner on. I want to see a number 71 hitting a one-timer bar down. I just think that looks nice.
Speaking of number changes, let's go through them real quick. I have them right in front of me. So, obviously, Forrester, 71. Noah Case is now 27.
Very nice.
Ronnie Adert is 23. Wade Allison is 17. We knew that. Cam York is now number 8. I love that. That's my favorite number change, man. Igor Zamula is number 5.
I like that, too.
And then these are just the new numbers. You got Cal Peterson, he's 40. Sean Walker, he's 26. Paling, is that how you say it? Paling?
That's how I would say it.
Paling, okay, he's 25. We just talked about how he has JVR's number now. Hathaway, early in the podcast I said Hathaway had 25. It's actually Paling, and Hathaway has 19, so he takes Brassard's old number, and then obviously Mark Stahl with 18. So those are the new numbers, and then the number switches for this upcoming season. Are you surprised there's no Frost change?
No, because didn't he say? You said last year he liked it, right?
Yeah, apparently, I forget where I read it from. But Morgan was... this was before Briere became the interim GM. He was talking about how Briere was such a top guy in Frost's ability to kind of turn things around. Like, Briere was really just kind of hip with him, going through things, watching tape together. And apparently Briere was the one. At first, Morgan wanted to change 48, but Briere was apparently like, hey, I think you should keep it. It kind of fits you. And personally, if fucking Danny Briere tells me to keep a number, I'm keeping a number.
Yeah,
and especially if it was his number, when he played in Philadelphia and he's telling me to keep it, yeah, I'm keeping it.
Yeah, 100%. That's why I wasn't surprised. And now he's the GM. I think Morgan Frost has a ton of respect for Danny Briere. Yeah. It almost feels like it's a badge of honor to have his number. And
it's kind of cool.
I don't know. I've warmed up to it. I wanted Frost to change for a little bit, but I like it, especially now that Frost found his groove in the back half and really starting to find his way. It's just, I don't know, it fits.
Let's talk about Morgan and Danny. Let's talk about them.
Let's talk about all the RFAs that got extended.
Yeah, let's do it. So we got Cam York. Cam York and Noah Cates both got 2-year deals. So, I mean, I kind of expected all three of them to get it, but now it kind of looks like they're trying to lock it. I mean, I don't have any kind of inside information, but this is just my gut saying that if you can't get a 2-year deal done, that's got to mean they're trying to go length, right?
100%. If it was a bridge, it would have been done around the time of the other two.
You would think so.
Because a bridge doesn't take much compromise. It's kind of like both sides know what a bridge... Like, you know what I'm saying. Both sides know what you're getting when you go to the table with a bridge deal. But it gets a little trickier with a long-term deal because you bring in the fluctuation in the cap potentially going up, what a player could be worth in a couple years.
Buying some of his UFA years. There's a lot of things.
Start making comparables. It gets a lot more complicated.
I'm sure that's what his agent's pointing to. I mean, hey, the cap's going up right now, and you want to buy a couple of his UFA years because they probably want to go up.
And I'm sure his agent's saying, like, he's just getting started. Like, he hasn't even shown you his best hockey yet. Like,
hopefully
what you saw in the final third, yeah, absolutely, hopefully. But you know his agent's saying that.
It has to
hype him up. He's like, look at the last 30, 40. I mean,
he's got a point, man. it wasn't just a fucking 15-game stretch that a lot of people would like the clown on, the people that are pointing out that, hey, since January fucking 1st, Morgan Frost was one of the best player, probably the best player on the team. But Noah Cates, 2-year deal. He makes $2.625 a year. Cam York got the same, not the same 2-year deal, but same 2-year length at 1.6 a year. So Noah Cates at 2.625 and Cam York at 1.6. Those are the deals. I love the York deal. I thought he'd get more, to be honest with you. But it's just a 2-year deal, like you said. And a lot of these guys are betting on themselves, which I don't blame them. I mean, if I'm Cam York and I'm seeing the caps going up in a couple years, and he's got confidence, we all know that. So betting on himself is not the worst move in the world. But looking at our defensive core right now, it's pretty fucking brutal, dude. It is brutal, dude. It's Travis Sanheim, Rasmus Misterlinen, Sean Walker, Cam York, Mark Stahl, Nick Seeler, and Yegor Zamula. Holy fuck, that's bad.
It's very bad, Stump.
Like, that kind of bothers my eyes bad, dude.
But it's cheaper bad. Last year it was more expensive bad.
Like you just said, it's cheaper bad. Like I don't care if I'm watching a defense that sucks if I'm tanking and they're making nothing. But Travis Sanheim is going to suck next year, man. I really don't have any kind of confidence that he's just going to flip a switch and become this defenseman that we've never seen before. I mean, the kid's 20. No, he's not a kid. This dude's 27 years old, man. I mean, why are we talking about Travis Sanheim like he's Cam York's age? Like he's 22 years old and he's still got time to develop into the player that he's going to be. Travis Sanheim has been playing hockey since I was fucking 15 years old, man. I turned 24 in like 2 weeks. And we're talking about we still got time to develop into the defenseman that he always could be. No, he's not awful, but he's not good. He's just in my opinion. Like he's just That's what I think of when I think of Travis Sanheim.
I mean, the guy's played for like 5 different head coaches.
Yeah, dude. And has never seen a power play once. You got all these people, why you've never thrown Travis Sanheim on the power play? Well, he's gone through fucking 18 power play coaches and not one of them has consistently put him on the power play. So maybe there's a reason for that. I don't know. That's just a wild fucking guess. The dude has never been consistently on the power play, has he? We've seen him there on a fucking wall for a couple games. Like who sees Travis Sanheim and is like, yup, his skill set best suits a fucking wall on a power play. Like, how do these people have jobs, man? Like, it's incredible to me. I don't want to shit on him too much, but I don't see him being here past 2024 or 2025. I really, like, apparently he's not happy about the fact that he was supposedly in trade rumors over the summer. I saw that on Twitter a couple times, but I mean, who gives a fuck, dude? Who really gives a fuck? I mean, the last GM gave you that deal. You're acting like Briere himself handed you that deal, then turned around and said, hey, we're looking to trade you to fucking St. Louis. You know what I mean? It's, look around you, man.
Like, God forbid you get put on a hot seat. I mean,
you've been gliding for fucking 7 years. And now, you've been gliding for 7 years. You were handed an 8-year deal with a no-move clause for the first 3-4 years, and you want to bitch that we want to trade you. It's like, Jesus Christ.
That's how I know shit's changing around here. That's how I know this new regime's actually about business. Because in the past, I mean, we've begged for that. Mm-hmm. How many times have we sat here in March, April of a season and been like, I want no one to feel safe in the offseason.
Yes.
And then they were all safe. Every time they were all safe. Like, and the slightest bit of adversity in the organization for Travis Sanheim, and he was shook by it. And that tells me all I need to know, that this has never happened before. And it should have happened a long time ago. I mean, he's 27.
That's what I'm saying, dude. He's not 20. He's not 23 years old. Like, I have people genuinely talking about him like, oh, he'll develop into a player. He's got time. I mean, could he get a little bit better? Sure. But, I mean, I've watched this. He's a great skater. Fantastic skater. I will not take that away from him. But he'll enter a blue line with, like, the most speed I've seen a defenseman besides Cale Makar and, like, Miro Heiskanen. I mean, he can skate. But it's just right after he enters the blue line, it's either a shot that gets deflected up to the net or section 212, or he just gets completely bodied off the puck. He's never consistently been good to the point where I could be confident in him being a fixture here for the next 5-6 years. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, we've seen what we need to see. His prove-it years are kind of long gone. Like, can he still have a nice, decent year and show us something that we haven't seen? Yeah, but is it at a level that deserves an 8-year commitment?
Yeah.
I don't believe so.
Like, the actual money he's making isn't bad. 6.25 for Travis Sanheim, who can play in your top 4 with the cap going up in a couple years. That's not bad. It's really not. And it's tradable. A team will 100% trade for that. So, like I said 5 minutes ago, I do not see him being passed there. If Briere is looking to trade him the first year he has the wheel, then you cannot convince me that he's not going to look into the future of trading Travis. Like, maybe not now, maybe not this trade deadline, but maybe next summer he walks in, he calls Travis Sanheim, hey, you willing to waive that no move clause, man? Like, who knows? But
if I were Briere, honestly, the pitch would be like, dude, both sides clearly, like, the fit isn't there anymore. Mm-hmm. Both sides could use a change of scenery. And not only that, we aren't going to win in the near future. You're 27, 28 years old. Like, do you want to waive this and I can send you to a team with a better chance of winning? Like, he could frame it in a way that's not, like, even disrespectful. He could just,
absolutely.
Business is business, and, hey, go on to, the timeline doesn't fit.
This is just a kid from Delco complaining about him. I'm not saying this is how Briere is going to fucking say it to him, but I think there's absolutely a way that you could get it across without being disrespectful. I hope he does.
Yeah.
Maybe in a couple months. We'll see.
I don't know. I think it's going to be hard during the season.
Yeah, I don't think it happens during the season. I think that's a trade that happens in the off season.
It could be, honestly, could be like 2 years from now when the cap goes up 10 mil, and it's just easier to finesse that, and he waives it.
Exactly. There's going to 100% be a team with the cap going up that looks at Travis Sanheim and goes, yeah, I'll pay him 6.25 for the next 5 years, for sure. Because I don't even think you'd have to eat anything in that deal. I think you would just have to take something back that's not exactly what you would want back, but is good enough. It suffices, you know? So we'll see where they go with that. I'm going to butcher his name. So, Dank, if you're listening to this, you're welcome, I guess, because you love when I do this. But Alexis Gendron, I don't know. Sorry, but he was signed to an entry-level contract. That's something that we did not cover on July 25th.
Kolosov as well.
Kolosov, yeah, but we let him back to the KHL, so he'll be back there this year, but be back with us next year. So that's awesome.
Very exciting to see that put in motion.
Yeah,
to see that process begin.
He's
very
one of
excited.
The best KHL goalies in the world right now. So I could even go out on a limb and probably say he's better than Fedotov, which that whole situation is still weird as fuck to me.
Dude, so, with Fedotov, it's like fans, we got to give it up.
I don't even know what's happening anymore, to be honest with you, Dan.
I don't even think he wants to play in the NHL. Like, I think he's content with playing in Russia, making Russian money. He's 27. Like, I don't even think he has an itch to come play for the Flyers like that. Genuinely, but that's just me speaking.
Yeah, true. But Gendron, I don't know if I'm butchering his name, is a guy that me and you have talked about. Not just me and you, but me, you, Derek, and Zach over the past year. I mean, he was really good in the Q last year. So, 29. He got traded in the beginning of at the end of the season, mid-season trade from I don't know how to say it, Blainville Armad. I don't even know how to say that, but he had 22 goals, 12 assists, 34 points in 29 games with them, and then got traded to the. I can't say any of these names, man. I'm gonna sound like a dumbass if I even try to pronounce these. They're terrible. But if you want to go see what team he got traded to, just go look it up online. It's Gatineau. Like, I don't even know how I would begin to try to pronounce that.
Wait, Gatineau?
Oh, there you go. Gatineau Olympics?
Olympics, yeah, that was Giroux's junior.
How do you say Olympiques?
Yeah, Olympiques.
So after the transfer there, he had 33 goals, 14 assists, 47 points in 34 games. And then he had 14 more goals, 19 points in 13 playoff games. So that's a total of 69 goals, 100 points in 76 regular season and playoff games. So it is the QMJHL. So I'm not saying he's the next coming of fucking Michkov, but it's still going to be extremely cool to see him play in the AHL next year. See what?
Yeah, it's just the pipeline's getting deep, is what it is. You're watching it just build in real time, and it's exciting. Like, he's obviously not at the top of the pipeline, but having guys like him and filling up your system the way that we are in this first year or so it's nice to see.
And he's a late round pick too, so getting anything out of him is what do we say, Danny? The cherry on top.
House money,
baby. So
same
excited.
with Desnoyers too.
Yeah, Desnoyers. I honestly, Gendron is a little bit more of an offensive player than Desi is, but for Gendron being a 220th overall pick in 2022, I mean, the fact that he's even signing his ELC now is awesome to see, man.
Yeah, it's just a W.
Let's see how much of that goal scoring can translate over to a pro league from the QMJHL. He's got some. He'll definitely be scoring goals. How much is to be seen, but I mean, he really attacks the inside of the ice really well, especially on the rush. Got a great wrist shot. Not the biggest guy in the world, but I'm excited, man. Like you said, the pipeline is slowly kind. Sorry if you hear something in my. I don't know if it's like fucking laughter from my neighbors. I don't know what's going on there, but just for the pipeline to kind of get deeper and deeper, it's exciting to watch. I mean, you still got Bobby Brink, who I mentioned in the beginning of the episode. People don't stop talking about it. People have not talked about Bobby Brink at all, and I still think he's going to be a really, really good player for us. Not like top line, first line player, but I really think he's going to be a Swiss Army knife that can play up and down our lineup. Ask him to kill penalties, ask him to go on the power play, ask him to just play 5-on-5. I think he can do all of it. So now that he's fully healthy, he's got a chance to make the team out of camp. Him, Forrester, Andrea. We didn't even talk about Andrea yet. So there's a lot of exciting things to look forward to this season. Now, you got a lot of people who are always saying, "Oh, it's a rebuild season. What's the point of even watching?" There are so many reasons to watch this year. There are so many individual team building reasons to watch this year. Like I said, Andrea could possibly make the team out of camp, and his situation is a little weird because if he doesn't make the NHL out of camp, he goes back to the SHL. And what does he have to prove there? Nothing. Absolutely nothing to go prove back in the SHL. So either make the team or figure out a way to get him back in the AHL, because going back to the SHL, I really feel like it's just pointless for him. Don't think there's anything for him to gain. How do you feel?
No, I agree. Especially with the way he dominated development camp. I know you shouldn't put too much stock in development camp, but I think the kid's ready. I mean, he's been playing against grown men for years now. And I don't know, he breeds confidence. Like, there was just a different air about him this time around that you could just kind of get the sense that he's ready.
Yeah, my favorite.
He seems really confident. He seems comfortable. That I guess that's the word I want to use. He seems comfortable with North America now.
He just seems comfortable every time he gets ice, man. I hate comparing every small defenseman who moves the puck to Chemo Timonen, but he really gives me Chemo vibes. He gives me Chemo who will jaw you in the shoulder vibes. You know, I mean, yeah. You know what I mean? Just run you. Because he throws his weight around for a guy who's not that big. Throws his weight around like I've never seen a smaller defenseman do. So it's going to be really fun to see him in the corners throwing hits. Like, he's what I thought Provorov was going to be. Like, I saw Provorov in Brandon and the WHL just throw like hip checks after hip checks and just blowing people up. And I'm so excited to get this puck moving defenseman who can contribute in the offensive zone, who also blows people up in the defensive zone. But like, we saw Provorov do that like once a year when he first came into the league and then just stopped doing it. But I really do think Emil Andre is going to be a guy who throws his weight around a ton. Because he does.
That's why I think it's such a benefit that he's played in leagues with just grown men all the time, because I feel like that just has to come naturally. You have to adapt that way. You have to be physical, and you have to get bigger.
Yeah.
And just be feisty, and I feel like nothing but positives can come out of that.
Hold on, dude. Do you hear a trumpet in the back?
Dude. Yeah.
What the actual fuck am I listening to right now, dude? I have never heard that once in the 12 years I've been living in my house, and now that I do a podcast outside, somebody starts to play a trumpet. Do you hear this? What is
good.
this?
They're pretty good at it.
It's not bad at all, but like, what the fuck? Let me know if that gets annoying. Because, like, what the fuck, dude?
They're going crazy,
I'm
bro.
picturing somebody just, like, on their porch with, like, a backwood in their mouth.
Squidward shit, dude. Just
Squidward
going
shit.
crazy.
But no, Emil Andre is definitely a guy that, I mean, I said Brink going into training camp, but he's really the guy I'm looking at for, hey, he could do something. He could make the team out of camp. He could force Briere to trade one of Sealer or Zormula or Stahl, but he just signed Stahl, so I don't see him trading him. But he could really force Briere's hand in this upcoming training camp.
Dude, our scouting team and our drafting process over the last couple of years has been nothing short of impressive. Like, even when Chuck first came on board, actually, before that, our just scouting team in general and our drafting process has been much improved for a good little bit now, and it's nice to see.
What did you say to me about Flair a couple days ago? About how he was just kind of in the middle of everything when Chuck was here and was just doing his thing and just weeding his way through the trash, if you will, and just... Because if you look back, and even when Chuck was here, the drafts are still pretty good. Like, I've had a lot of conversations with people on Twitter being like, hey, I understand that you're frustrated with the Hextall picks because they didn't really pan out the way we wanted them to, but hey, not the same thing for the Chuck Fletcher picks yet. Like, you can't... Because Chuck Fletcher's first pick was who, Danny?
Cam York.
So you got to be careful when you start talking about, every Flyers draft pick in the last 6-7 years has been a bust, because those guys are still to be determined. I mean, you got Cam York, Tyson Forrester, Samu Tuamala, Cutter Gauthier, Matej Michkov. That's all Flair's picks so far. So
and now they finally got their guy too. So they're beaming with joy. Like,
we talked
they've been
about
so impressive with the late round steals, and I think that's telling as well. Like, I feel like a lot of organizations can kind of, I don't want to say punt their late round picks, but the Flyers, they really, like, they get excited about it. They do. They have their guys, especially late in the draft. They take them. And the missing link for the longest time here is, I mean, the scouting, the drafting was there, but the development wasn't. And now they've tinkered with that and has changed it. And we haven't seen the results of it. We don't know if it's good yet, but it's being worked on. And if they can get the development part right, oh boy.
I mean,
it's about to get fun.
Look at Devin Kaplan. Was he a third-round pick? And he's a guy who, I'm pretty sure he was a third-round pick. He plays for Boston University, had a pretty solid freshman year last year with them. Pretty sure he's playing with Team USA right now, with Cutter on the same team. I could be wrong on that. Somebody fact-checked me. But with Boston University last year in 40 games, he had 10 goals, 13 assists, 23 points. So he's another guy that you look at. Could be something. He was a third-round pick, 69th overall by us in 2022. This year we went goalie heavy. We got a couple of goalies. So there are a lot of picks still yet to be determined from the Flair draft. And speaking of Flair and how you said that they finally got their guy. And you can confidently say that because Flair was on Jason, how do you say his last name, Danny? I always butcher his last name.
Murtitas?
Yes, Jason Murtitas' I believe it was Jason's show. And they were talking about the 2022 draft, and I think it was towards the end, Jason was just like, hey, I know it's a really far time away, but can we talk about the 2023 draft real quick? And don't remember exactly what was said, but I do remember Flair being like, yeah, because he was asked about the Russian factor because all that shit was going on. Flair basically turned around and was like, yeah, I'd pick Michkov second overall and not even blink. So how do you think Flair was feeling when he was standing up on the podium watching Michkov walk down that aisle ready to grab a Flyers jersey at 7th overall? Like, he's laughing at other GMs like, ha, ha, ha. No fucking way did I just sit here and have this guy land on my lap. And now I'm watching him walk down this aisle with orange and black Flyers colors beaming from the ground.
And we might get his line mate next year. Like, we're not even done yet. That's the we have Florida's pick, which unless it slips into the top 10, will be ours.
It will not. I mean, Kachuk's going to miss a good portion of the beginning of the season, but I don't think they're bottom 10 bad. So I think we're going to have
very exciting.
Extremely
and that's yet
high
another
picks.
reason to watch this year. I mean, I'm just excited to track that,
Yeah,
track
absolutely.
the standings, track Florida, because I'm excited with the foundation we have here now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you talk about adding to it. I mean, I'm beaming with joy at the thought of getting a top 5 pick in next year.
And I've already said it to you. I genuinely think, I don't even care where the picks end up. What picks we have, what pick Florida is. I do not see him using both those picks next year. I see him trading both those picks to try to move up. I really do. I know it's so early. It's so early to throw something like that out. But I don't know. Clip this. Do whatever you got to do. Remember what I said.
It kind of makes sense. It would be a huge power play, but it does make sense because he didn't have to do it this year.
He didn't
have to fire that bullet this year.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, we haven't even talked about Bonk at all. I mean, he's another guy who, because of Michkov, kind of goes underneath everything. But he's another guy that you look at. He could be top 4 if he develops the right way.
His dad played 14 years in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
Dale Hunter is his coach. Keith Jones has a lot of connections with Dale Hunter. So you just know that there was a lot of conversations, glowing endorsements if they were to draft him, and they did. So he's not quite all there with his frame and his development, obviously. It's going to take a while. He's a defenseman. But when he gets there, I think he's going to be a great counterpart to what we already have in our puck movers.
Absolutely. Dude, he's so intelligent. At the scrimmage that I watched, that I went to during development camp, and a lot of people were there. Shout out to the Flyers fans who just crowded the fuck out of the skate zone. I mean, me and Sitka couldn't even move when we walked in. But his decision-making, his quick decision-making when a player is on top of him, and I'm talking about Bonk, is excellent. Like you said, his frame has got to get bigger, which it will. He's a baby. He's a literal kid. But the fact that he has the IQ and the puck moving now that's not something that you can really teach. So, I mean, you can let him grow into his frame. You can teach him how to skate. You can teach him all these other things. But hockey IQ is something that some dudes are born with, some dudes are not. Like Michkov, extremely, extremely high hockey IQ. I mean, look at him. We haven't even talked about the fact that he's thinking about making a change to center. That he already, apparently the GM of his team in Russia brought up to him before Michkov was able to bring it up to the GM. So it was kind of like a mutual decision, but it was brought up to Michkov before he had the chance to say anything. So that's another thing that none of us are talking to. And the fact that he might be a center. I mean, that's incredible.
I love that he studied Crosby, too, because I think it's fitting.
It is fair. That's something Derek said, too. That's like the one player that Michkov could study and actually try to emulate that you wouldn't laugh at. Like anybody else, like if Logan Cooley was like, yeah, I watched fucking Sidney Crosby tape, you'd laugh at it because you're like, you don't have the body, you don't have the edge. I mean, he has the edges, but he doesn't have the overall IQ and frame and edges to
just
to
the
play.
well-balanced game.
Yeah.
He's like mid-sized. He's not big. He's not small.
And Michkov is the
Honestly,
guy.
He's a strong, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but he has like a strong lower body as well, like his calf muscles. You can tell he's been working on that. Like he takes his strides are really efficient. I think, and just his IQ, I think Crosby is a great comparable. To be honest,
it is. Before we end this, which has been a fun one, we're just going back and forth talking some hockey. Haven't done that in a while, but we do have some questions, about 4 of them. So the last 10-ish minutes will be this. First one will be our day one, bleed orange and black. What are the realistic expectations with the defense and goalies? He's got a year left, but any thoughts on Hart's contract? Expectations for Coots after an off year? What progress do you want to see from Frost, Tippett, York, and Zamula? Almost to 100 pod, guys. So fucking proud of y'all. Let's fucking go, TLY. Love you, Bleed. You're our guy. We'll answer this question in sections. So what are your realistic expectations with the defense and goalies? Defense, not very high, man. I'm just kind of looking at York's development, what Travis Sanheim does, if Ristolainen can continue his solid play. Because Sean Walker, he's going to play, but he's not going to be any much of a factor. Not much for the defense, to be honest with you. And the goalie situation is still kind of up in the air with the Canada investigation still going on. Don't know what the fallout's going to be from that.
We have 3 goalies right now.
Yeah, Cal Pedersen. You got Urson in the AHL. Urson. So it's I don't really have. Ask me that question like towards the end of training camp, and I'll give you a better answer. Because right now, I don't really have any expectations for either of those positions, except defense in a couple of spots with York, and if Andrea makes the team, that'd be awesome. Zamula, if he gets some consistent playing time, that would be really cool. But not much for me. I
kind of expect more of the same as last year. just
shitty,
below average defensive play or horrendous defensive play, and goalie that's doing all he can, but even Martin Brodeur wouldn't be good behind that defense kind of thing.
Exactly. With the Hart contract, thoughts on Hart? What are your thoughts on Hart, Danny?
I guess we just have to wait and see what's the deal with this thing. To be honest, I'm tired of hearing about it. I feel like I've heard it for the last 3 years. No bullshit. And I just hope it gets over with.
I think it's already, like, the investigation is done, and the 5 names are going to come out soon, but I don't know what the names are.
Good. I'm glad. Like, let's just get this over with. Let's just see if he was involved or not. Just like I said, it's been a story for a while now, and the way the Flyers are operating with the goalie situation kind of leads you to believe that he could be involved, but I don't want to speculate.
Don't want to speculate at all.
We just wait and see, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Expectations for Coots after an off year. After a year off. I don't really have any expectations for him per se. I just kind of want him to get back and doing what he loves and playing hockey and being okay. Like, I just want him to be able to play 82 games. That's all I want from Couturier. I don't have any kind of crazy. I'm not like, oh, go score 70 points this year or you suck. I just go out there, stay healthy, do well on the kids do well on the kids that play next year, because he'll probably be playing next to probably Tippett or Farabee or some young kids that he's going to have on his wing. So just be a good veteran for them, stay healthy, and do your thing. He's a really, really good hockey player. So it's going to be fun watching number 14 back in orange and black. Back in that new orange jersey. It's going to be cool, dude. Fucking see Sean Couturier with no teeth again, like smiling. I miss watching that motherfucker play, man. It's going to be cool. So just stay healthy, Coot. That's my expectation for you, buddy.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that, because I think as long as he's healthy, he'll be good. He'll be effective. His game doesn't really require much athleticism. He kind of all IQ, all stick positioning. I don't really think he's going to lose it in that regard.
I think he'll be fine.
So I think it's just all about availability. I agree.
Stay healthy. Our boy Adam, how many goals does Tippett score this season? And with a winky face, because I asked this question a couple days ago on our account, and I would say 28, 29. I don't think he hits 30. Danny?
I'm saying 33.
Ooh, I like it.
I think him and Frost are going to hook up for a lot this year.
I need that. That'd be tough. Another question. I don't know how to say this dude's first. Savaline Forrest? I don't know really how to say it, but he does interact with us a lot, so I'm sorry that I butchered your name. I'm terrible with names if you haven't noticed. Is it possible that the Flyers and Cates already had a deal in place and then they just asked Noah to file for arbitration because it just conveniently made the Tony DeAngelo buyout possible? The situation seemed convenient and Cates seemed out of the character in filing for arbitration. Yeah.
No, I think that's totally what happened, because they quickly got the deal done.
Right.
It never had a chance to go to arbitration, and both sides seemed content. There was no noise about it. It was very quick, to the point.
Yeah.
I think and it worked for both Carolina and Philadelphia in the end, and it was another creative move by Briere. So, like, even the people who were hating on Briere, like, I'm not saying he's Yzerman, but you can't deny the creativity, and we've lacked it in the past. And to see it from a guy in his first year, like, you could just tell he's been studying. You could tell he's been reading the rules. He went to business school. He's been mentored by intelligent hockey people. You could just tell, and I think it's a good start. But
are you talking about
seen a lot of things?
You're talking about the backlash that he got for the Hayes trade?
Just honestly for the summer, like, I've seen some people like,
he
should get more. yeah, he didn't do enough, and like, oh, the Krug trade fell through, and just stuff like that.
Well, do you know why those people are saying that? Because they're looking over at Chicago, who stripped everything down to the fucking steel beams, and they want us to do the exact same thing. And Briere said we're not fucking doing that. We're rebuilding, absolutely, but we're not stripping the entire team organization down to the studs and redoing it. That's not what's going on here. That's a rebuild, but that's like rebuild times 1,000. What we're doing is trying to find guys that are actively in the organization that could be part of the core, the younger guys, in the next 2, 3, 4 years. So you want not a winning culture, but you want like a little winning bubble in the. Like, you don't want to just lose all the time. I don't know how to explain it, but you just don't want the mindset of just, hey, we're going to strip this down and just lose games because that's what we want. No, we want to be competitive, watch guys develop, watch young guys develop, and obviously lose games because we're not a veteran team with elite players, but do that and see where you end up, because you never know. Like we said in the beginning of the podcast, they might not end up being as bad as we think they are. Maybe a couple guys do take a couple steps, and then you find out, okay, this guy is a part of my core and this guy isn't. You know what I mean? Like, you're not just stripping everything down and trading away Alex DeBrincat and trading away Kirby Dach. Like, we're not sitting here trading away fucking... I mean, who's a comparable to fucking Alex DeBrincat, who's 25 years old, 24 years old, and scores 30 goals? Like, Tippett? Like, I don't even know who you would... like, we're not trading Tippett away. And then who are you going to compare Kirby Dach to? Like, Gauthier? He was their pick a couple years ago. We're not doing that. That's not happening. So stop. Stop. Blows my mind, these people, man. Like, that's not what's fucking happening. And people that were complaining, like, oh, Lawton's still here. Oh, this guy's... Like I said, Briere was not trading everybody away in a fucking fire sale. Briere sees Lawton and he wants the value that he believes that Lawton should bring back. And if Lawton is... If teams are calling us up offering for a first-round pick for Lawton in the offseason, what are they offering in the trade deadline when two of their left wing and their centers are down and injured and out for a couple months? You know what I mean? Like, be patient. I promise you, Scott Lawton's not going to be here when we're competing for fucking Stanley Cups. I promise you. The dude's almost 30. You know what I mean? He's a great locker room guy. Don't get me wrong. He's a great dude. But he's an okay player. He's a third, fourth line player on a Stanley Cup team. And if a team is offering a first-round pick for you in the offseason, what are they doing in the trade deadline? You know what I mean? So just be patient, people. Just be patient. Briere is doing his thing. He unloaded Provorov, Hayes. I was going to say JVR, but he just kind of let him walk away. But he unloaded two huge guys. I mean, D'Angelo's another one, but I mean, I wouldn't have been too mad if D'Angelo was on the team next year. I mean, that's kind of he had 1 year left with $5 million left. Wasn't that big of a deal. But getting Provorov out of here to give that time to York is beautiful. And then obviously Hayes. Like, be patient, people. It's not all going to happen in one fucking offseason.
And it's like the reason the Blackhawks did all that tearing down wasn't because they wanted to just get rid of those players. Like, they wanted Connor Bedard. Like, they really wanted to be historically bad to get Connor Bedard. And we got lucky. We skipped all of that and hit the jackpot with Michkov.
Crazy.
And we don't have to do all of that tearing down. We got our generational player. We got our franchise guy. And we have Gauthier alongside him. And we have more coming in 2024, hopefully. We didn't have to do it. Like, we got really lucky. Like, our strategy might not be the blueprint, but it happened. I mean, same thing with the Rangers, like, and the Devils. Like, sometimes you just get lucky.
It's a great point, man. Look at the fucking Devils. Their defensive core, prospect core, makes my stomach turn. They have Luke Hughes and Simon Nemec just chilling. You know that meme of that cartoon character smoking in the corner with the hood on?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking Nemec and Luke Hughes, dude. Just in the wings, waiting to join that team that's already fucking awesome. Like, it's just... I always forget about those
and
dudes.
Cost controlled. Like, if you look
Jack
on the
Hughes
cap friendly,
nothing for what he's going to be in fucking...
chest pain. Their cap friendly is chest pain. They did a beautiful job with the cap. That's how you build a team. And like, I mean, not just how you build a team. That's how you build a Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yep. In
a modern day NHL, and it's scary. But I finally feel like we're on the way to competing with them, and I'm excited for the battle for years to come because I want to get in their way. Because they're going to be real good, and they're going to be consistently contending. And I want to be that team that's in their way for all those years. I want Michkov to be in their way the whole time.
I go to Cat Friendly, and their top 4 guys on the forward core: Timo Meier, Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt, Nico Hischier. Timo Meier is 26, Jack Hughes is 22, Jesper Bratt is 25, Nico Hischier is 24. All these guys are making less than $9 million, and all these guys, except Nico Hischier, are locked up past 2027.
And the cap's going to go up by $10 million in 2 years. Imagine what it's going to be in 4 years or 5 years.
They got Jack Hughes locked up till I'm 30 years old.
Dirt cheap. They're building the next Lightning/Bruins.
Fuck.
Like, it's crazy.
Fuck, dude.
That's why I'm really hoping they don't get a stud goalie.
Yeah, because you know it wasn't Blackwood.
Like, question mark. Yeah.
I had people tell me Blackwood was better than Hart for fucking 3 years.
They're like a stud goalie away from being a problem, and I was for a little bit I was thinking to myself like, dude, what if they get like Hellebuck or something? Suddenly this gets real scary.
Now that's exactly the place that I was thinking about for him, to be honest.
I was like, suddenly this gets real scary.
Yeah, suddenly this turns back into when my dad was throwing TVs out of fucking windows, dude.
Yeah.
Like that back in those rivalries. That's why he hates the Devils so much. Like, growing up, I've always hated the Devils because my father has always been like, hey, we hate the fucking Devils, but I've never actually had a reason to, except like remembering Kovalchuk and like a little bit of Patrick Elias that I remember. But other than that, don't really remember anything to give me a reason to genuinely hate them. But now, like the last 2 years, year and a half, I'm starting to see it, man. I cannot stand New Jersey.
Well,
dude.
like, you can just feel it building, right? Like, it hasn't even happened yet. Like, the hatred, the rivalry being renewed.
Like,
it hasn't
we suck.
Yeah, we suck right now. We're not even there yet. But, like, me and you as Flyers fans, we could see it. Like, that's gonna be a battle. Like, that rivalry is about to get renewed in a big way.
Let me throw a scenario at
And
you.
we're about to hate the Devils.
You ready?
Yep.
Michkov plays center this year for his KHL team. Destroys the KHL. I'm talking like 30 goals, 30 assists. Like, I'm talking insane numbers. Do you think he finds a way to come over?
Yeah.
I do too.
Yes, I do.
And that's not us saying we have any inside fucking source. It's just a gut feeling from what he said during interviews, from what I've heard from the GM of the team talking about how they decide when players come over. They usually decide a player is ready to come over when they're ready to be a top line or top pair player for the team that they're going over for. If they're going to be playing in the bottom 6 or in the AHL, they don't want them over there. Stay in Russia, develop close to home, do your thing here. But if they're ready to be a top line player, which Michkov right now, nobody would be blocking Michkov from playing top 6 minutes on the Philadelphia Flyers right now. Absolutely fucking nobody. But at the same time, you do want to see him destroy the KHL first and then eventually make his way over, which I do think if he does that this year, I think we could start talking about a possibility of him maybe getting out of that contract. And it's not even getting out, because if you read that article, I'll send it to you, Danny.
Well, yeah, that's what the quotes felt like. The quotes felt like, if he proves it, I won't deny him. He just has to prove it. I mean, obviously, we could be taking his words as gospel, that GM, but like that's what it read to me. It was like, if he is undeniable, I won't deny him. And so if he comes out this year and he's like the best player in the KHL, I don't think he's going to tell him no.
I don't think so either. But what did something bad just happen, Danny? Because Nick Castellanos just hit a 2-run shot. So something happened. Check on your fam, bro. Check on your friends or something. Check
on Michkov.
Facts, bro. Something always bad happens when that dude goes yard. But I agree with you completely with Michkov. If that dude destroys the KHL this year, I know he's under contract for the next 2 years, but it's just a gut feeling, man. I think he gets out of the contract before. I really do. We'll see, right?
Michkov versus Hughes is going to be crazy.
Bring it. I'll be blacked out somewhere at a bar or actually in the stadium. I'm ready, dude. I'm ready now, man. Like, can these 2 years go by quick? I got Cutter Gauthier and fucking Matvei Michkov. Are you kidding me? With Cam York, too? I know I'm getting too crazy. I'm such a homer, dude.
But it feels such a homer. No, because like we went from rock bottom not that long ago. Really not that long ago. Feeling like there was no light at the end of the tunnel to a quick 180. And that's what getting a player like Michkov does. I mean, that's just the reality of it. Like, it feels like a jackpot was hit.
We went from Ron Hextall signing Dale Weiss and telling us he's a 20 goal scorer to legitimately having the second best prospect.
A GM with a real plan. And I believe he actually can take the steps forward, unlike Ron Hextall. Like, Ron Hextall was real good at getting assets and cashing them in or whatever, but I feel like Danny Briere is going to be good at filling out the entire timeline. Maybe I'm giving him too much credit.
Yeah, maybe you are, but hey, wait and see right now because...
But at least I have hope.
You have
just the
hope.
Creativity I'm seeing. Like, I think when the time comes, he will be aggressive. I don't think he's scared to pull... And Keith Jones either. I don't think these are guys who are necessarily scared to pull the trigger. Like, these are guys who are learned from Paul Holmgren and shit. Like, they are not scared to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
The Flyers culture in the past has never been gun shy, trust me.
Oh, no. That's where it's still to be determined, though. When they're finally able to make that pivot to doing what they're doing now, to signing 6-year free agent deals and bringing star guys in with trades and free agency, that's really where I want to see Briere work. Because, like you said, we've seen so many GMs, especially Hextall, being so good at acquiring assets, acquiring draft picks, acquiring young players, but he was never able to make that next step into contention to bring those guys onto the team or trade a couple of young prospects that you like and cash in on them. Was never able to do that. I have the utmost confidence in Briere to continue doing what he's doing now with drafting and giving spots to younger guys and doing all that. But my main thing with him, and we have nothing to go back on and give as a comparison, is that next step, is acquiring free agents, is acquiring guys via trade and making these awesome little deals like a fucking...
Because that's been the hang-up, you know?
Absolutely.
For the last two regimes, it's been, you guys draft well, and I think that's just the scouting team mainly, to be honest with you, at this point. I think that's kind of proven, but...
you listen to your scouts well. I said, no, Hextall didn't even listen to his scouts. If he listened to his scouts, Mir Heiskanen would be here. So he doesn't, Hextall didn't listen to anybody, dude. At least Chuck sucked, but at least Chuck listened to the dudes who worked for him. Like, okay, Flair, you do
Chuck
this for
tried.
a living. Yeah, he actually
was just
listened.
bad.
He sucked at the things he had to do himself. But listening to Flair and the scout team, he was good at that. I mean, it's not hard to listen to people. Like, oh, you like him? Cool. We'll go with him. You like Gauthier? Cool. Awesome.
But I think Briere is gonna be better at finding the right fit for the timeline.
I hope
if that
so.
makes sense. He's not just gonna get a Cam Atkinson or just a random guy like that who just doesn't fit the timeline. He's not gonna get a Ryan Ellis. I think when he finally fires his shot, like Chuck did, I don't think he'll miss. But
hope not. We'll see, man.
I just don't think this regime is going to be giving out those contracts like Candy or giving up those commitments like Candy, because they're clearly focused on the cap and relieving it, and they're clearly excited about Michkov coming over, and when he does, he's going to be cheap, and it's a big point of emphasis for the organization now. So I don't think that they would just go back on everything that they did a couple of years later. I think they're teeing up something, and when the time comes, it'll be a fit. But
cheers to optimism, baby. Cheers to optimism. Let's run it. Go back next week. What, Anthony
DeMarco for episode 100 next week. It might be a little longer episode. Who knows? Who knows what we have in store for episode 100? But we do know that we have Anthony DeMarco, and it's going to be a fun one. But this was episode 99 of the Liberty Yell. You can follow us on all socials at the Liberty Yell. Follow us on Twitter at TLY Danny and at Chris Stumps.
Go Floor.